Hey guys! I hope that you guys have been really good while I've been away. I know that I said that I was going to have a video out last week for you guys, but it was just been one of those weeks where I had to work a lot more than usual, and as I'm sure that you guys are aware, there is only a finite amount of time in a day, and I have to prioritize, and for me, family always comes first. So I do apologize that this video has not come out sooner, but I am here now. The biggest issue for me is that I get really engulfed in projects that I have and hobbies and things like that, and everything else could fall by the wayside. So I really need to keep myself in check and prioritize the things that I care about the most. And obviously that is my family, my husband, my 2 kids, and now I have a little cat. Where is she? You know, they are the ones I love the most. I love you guys, but I love them more. I am here today, however, so let's focus on that. And I am here today to talk to you guys a little bit about how I organize my food shop and my meal planning every single week. And I know this is something we all do very differently. Some of us will go to the shop and just pick up whatever it is that we feel looks good at the time, maybe be inspired by the ingredients that we see. Some people have like a really structured thing where they, you know, write down everything. So we all work very different, and it all obviously depends on the personality types that we have. But I do also think that they depend on things like family circumstances. If you have lots of kids, obviously you're going to do one way. If you do have no kids, then you're going to do one way. If you are, you know, you have a partner, whatever way it is, you guys will be doing these things differently. So all I can do is show you how we do it in our family, and maybe you guys can be inspired. I mean, the thing is that because we eat so differently, you might need some inspiration on how to actually figure out, you know, your recipes and things like that. So I'll let you guys know exactly how we do it in our family of 2 grown-ups, even though that could be questionable at times, and 2 children, 2 little girls, as well as obviously our cats, although we don't really meal plan for her. As with everything, guys, I'm sure you guys understand, this is not something I'm doing, you know, every single week. Some weeks it just doesn't work out that way, but it is something that works for me the best, and it is what makes sure that I waste the least amount of food, and also that my family is always fed. So my first tip then, which is kind of obvious, I guess, is to actually plan your meals, right? That, I mean, maybe this is like overkill, but plan your meals. So do a 7-day plan where you plan from Monday to Sunday, or if you're in America, Sunday to Saturday, whatever you guys do. Plan your meals, right? And you know, actually write them down. You can either do it on a chalkboard menu, or you can do it in your bullet journal, or in some sort of like recipe diary. Whichever way you do it, write down 7 meals. And it doesn't have to be set in stone, right? So you can have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever you're going to eat, and then actually you decide to eat Wednesday's meal on a Monday because that suits better to your time scales and, you know, whatever the time that you have allotted to actually make your dinner. So yeah, it doesn't have to be set in stone, but it is important that you actually write down the meals. For me personally, I do it on my trusty chalkboard wall sticker thing. It's not very attractive, but it works, right? As well as in my bullet journal. So that's where I record all the meals that we eat, meaning that I have a record of all the things that we've actually tried, which is pretty cool. So my second tip follows that, and that is to actually, even though you've planned all the meals for the 7 days, you actually split it up into 2 shops. So you don't do all of it in one go. You do one main big shop in the week, and then you do a second one where you actually top up the things that you need for the rest of the week. When you eat a whole food plant-based diet, you eat a lot of fresh produce. I mean, it's kind of in the name. And if you don't eat that fresh produce, then it's gonna go off. So after you have planned out your 7 meals, split them into 2, whichever 4 and 3 or 5 and 2, whichever you do, it doesn't really matter. But after you've done that, it means that you waste a lot less food, you eat a lot fresher food, which is actually a lot more nutritious for you and yummier for one. It actually also saves a lot of space in your fridge. This means that you have a lot more space for things that you have food prepped, and you can actually put things like that in there. But also you can actually see all of the food that you have in your fridge. And this is really important. I do believe in having as big of a fridge as you can for the space that you have, but it means that you can actually see everything. In the past, I've crammed my fridges with loads and loads of things. And what ends up happening is things are hidden behind, and then like 2 weeks later, I'll find them in there. I'm like, oh, I'll have to do this face, you know, like, oh, that's gross. So that is one of my things is smaller shops. It means that you have more visibility in your fridge. It means a lot less waste, and it's just better all around. So number 3 is how to source your recipes and meal ideas. I have 3 places that I go for my recipes: the Forks Over Knives app, Pinterest, and obviously my head. If you guys don't already have the Forks Over Knives app, I truly recommend it. It was life-changing for me. I use it for obviously recipes as well as the shopping list, so that's where I actually record all the things that I need from the shop. So I bring that with me, and that's where I check off everything. It is so easy to use and totally practical. Let me know if you guys want me to do a quick 2-minute video where I actually do a run through of how the app works and things, just in case you guys are trying to decide whether to get that app or not. I could totally do a little review for you. I love it, and obviously I can just recommend it, and you can, but if you do want me to do that, I will obviously do that for me. Just let me know. Pinterest obviously rocks. It is amazing. It's such a great source for awesome recipes. There are also a lot of recipes on Pinterest that are just slightly off, slightly not edible for us that are trying to eat a whole food plant-based diet. They might have eggs in them or dairy or oil or something like that, and this is when you then have to go into your own head to try to adapt these recipes. And the more you do this, the more that you adapt these recipes, the more that you are going to become better and better at figuring out what works and what doesn't work. I do love experimenting, and with time, now most of the food that we eat is either fully my own recipe or an adapted recipe from other people's recipes. This way I am eating as whole food plant-based as I possibly can at all times. I'm not perfect, but this way of sourcing my recipes has really helped me to get pretty darn close. Tip number 4, record, record, record. You think that you are going to remember what you have done, and you're not. Record what you do, whether that is like just for a dinner idea or recipe. Write down what you do, because you are not going to remember it. And then next time you want to make that meal, you're going to be like, how did I do this? There was that one ingredient. What was it? I am quite an intuitive cook. And so most of my recipes are in my head, but all of my ideas are written down. And next to those ideas, I have notes where I write down if there is something that I want to remember about it. So just record what you do. The way that I do it is I'm bringing back that bullet journal again. I write down all my ideas on a kind of like a rough draft. We try them. I rate them, my husband rates them, my kids rate them, because obviously they're kind of important too. And if they pass our rating system, they then make it into kind of like a final draft where I divide them into like staple dinners, soups, snacks, and treats, and things like that. So I split them into different categories. Within those categories, this is also where I then write things like where to find the recipe, how long it takes me to make it, but also whether the kids have approved of the meal. This way, all I have to do is go through that list when I'm doing my meal planning for the week, and I will know for sure that this is a recipe that worked for us. We really enjoyed this, or we didn't enjoy this, but it was kind of good. We do try a new recipe relatively often, but as your list grows, you will tend to have your staple meals that you always go to, like your go-to meals, because you know that they're either fast or you know that they're amazing. Whichever it is, you will have your staple meals. Now, at least we do. Maybe you're a little bit more adventurous and your list is going to be like a mile long, but ours is about five pages, something like that. Since coming back onto YouTube and Instagram, however, my mind is now starting to kind of like be reinvigorated, and I am actually trying a lot more new things now again. I have been vegan for like 5 years, and it is quite a big chunk of your life. You kind of can become a little bit complacent. So if you want to prevent that, then this is a really good way of introducing new recipes into your weekly rotation. Tip number 5, write down a shopping list, guys, because it is what's going to save you a lot of money when you get to the shop. So once you've planned out all your meals for that week, you write down your shopping list. Now this is something that I do in the Forks Over Knives app, right? So if you don't have it, that's fine. You can do it on a piece of paper, that's not a problem. But the way that I do it is in the Forks Over Knives app because it takes so much, it goes so much faster, okay? So you can actually go into the recipes. We eat about maybe 2 Forks Over Knives recipes a week. So I'll always start with those. I go into the recipes that we're going to be using. I click on the ingredient that we don't currently have at home. And that will automatically get added to your shopping list, which I think is the best. Totally awesome, and it does take seconds. Now, all the recipes that are not in the Forks Over Knives app, yes, you will have to write them down manually, whether on a piece of paper or in the app. I do it in the app because that way I have everything in one place, and it's awesome. So after I've gone through all the recipes to see exactly what we need for those dinners, there's obviously more meals in the day. So I then go through all of the areas in our kitchen where we store food and staples and things like that, because I do like to be stocked on all those kind of things that don't go bad. It is a pet peeve of mine to go into the cupboards and want something or need something and then it not being there. I really, really don't like it. And especially when there's no need for it to be empty, because these things don't go bad. And it's not like I'm buying more food, I'm just buying it to make sure that I actually have it at home. Maybe this comes from not having had my license for so long, which means that I couldn't just go out and get something whenever I needed it. Tip number 6, don't forget your card. Because seriously, that is not going to be fun when you get to the end of the checkout. I am not speaking from experience. Not at all. Not at all. Tip number 7, to keep your costs as low as possible, because no matter your financial situation, you should really be doing this because wasting money is not a good thing. To do this, I do most of my shop in a cheaper shop, and then I will go over to a slightly more expensive shop that is a lot better stocked and will have all the things that I can't get in that cheaper shop because they just don't stock it. Part of getting that cheaper price from the cheaper shop is the fact that they don't stock it as well. So do as much of the stock as you can in that cheaper shop and then go over to the more expensive shop and buy the rest there. For me, the most convenient thing has been to go for all of my staples at Aldi. Those of you living in the UK will know what shop that is. And then I will be going over to Sainsbury's for all those other things that I can't buy at Aldi. For me, this has become the most convenient thing because for some reason around here, they set up right next door to each other, which is awesome for me. I don't really get why they did it for them, but it just means I don't have to move my car, which is pretty cool. So that is it. That is how I organize my food shop and my meal planning every single week. I do this to keep cost low as well as keep waste down. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that. I have so many video ideas, guys. My issue is that I need help figuring out which ones to actually do. So can you guys let me know whether you want a recipe or would you want some tips on how to get your kids to eat what you eat? Because I don't cook a completely different meal for my kids. They have to eat what we eat. Let me know what you guys think either in the comment section below, or there should come a little info bubble or something right up in the top corner here where there's actually a poll and you guys can just press a button which one you guys would rather want. Hope that you guys really like this video and that sharing how I do things and how we do things in our family has helped you guys out in even a small way. Because seriously, once you get this down, the rest is going to be a breeze. It's not that hard to actually eat this way. It's like little puzzle pieces, and I'm hoping to actually provide you with those puzzle pieces, and that's what I'm trying to do here. If you did like this video, then please give it a thumbs up because it totally helps, guys. The other thing as well is to share the video because you never know who out there is actually looking for some tips and tricks on how to plan their meals and their food shop and everything. So that really helps them as well as it kind of helps me as well. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done this marvelous deed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!